y'all, this is Anna Alexander, and it is opening weekend of the movie that we knew was coming out and then totally forgot about, and then I'm reminded of again recently, which is Dune Part 1. Oh yeah, spoiler, no spoiler, Part 1, and we will get to that in a little bit. Now, I was not rushing, like totally waiting to go see this. I never read the books. I sort of remember the movie when I was a kid, kind of knew a little bit what it was going into it, but it was one of those, maybe. So the fact that I was able to watch it at home on HBO Max was a bonus, and it ended up being a bonus in more ways than one, which I will get to also in a moment. But I'm kind of like sort of all over the fence about how I feel about the movie. And so because of that, there will be some spoilers because I'll need to talk to the spoilers, which will explain why I feel the way I do about some things. Overall, though, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Because one of the reasons I wasn't really dying to go see it is that I knew it was space opera. And anything that's high fantasy, science fiction, historical, whatever, if I know that it's going to involve a lot of world building, it takes me a lot of mental energy to gear up to go see it because I know that I will be hit with names and places and relationships and lines and stuff. And you're either going to be inundated with it, which will start getting too confusing and you get frustrated, or you're kind of dropped into the deep end of the ocean expecting to swim and you're not given enough information about the world and you get frustrated and bored. So that's why science fiction and high fantasy things, I need to gear up a lot for it. And that's when watching this movie at home was a bonus because of these subtitles, closed captioning. I was able to see the names and the places and relationships. Not only did I hear it, I could also read it. That gave me another little level of connection. So I was able to follow along a little bit more with the world, and it was paced just slow enough that I can follow along without getting too lost in the world that they were creating. So that was great. Again, you weren't just dumped into the deep end. You were kind of like put on a canoe and pushed out onto the river, and the river flowed along nicely. The only place where the pacing kind of was getting too slow for me was about 3/4 of the way. 3/4 of the way, then it got a little bit too slow, especially when you're realizing, which is where the part 1 comes in. It doesn't just end on a cliffhanger. I heard it ended on a cliffhanger. This movie does not end on a cliffhanger. This movie just ends. Period. There is zero resolutions to things, which I find hysterical because you were told, sure, you can make this movie. And you make a movie, but you don't make the whole movie. You don't even make half the movie. It's like maybe 2/5 of a movie, and you just end, and you have no guarantee that you're going to be able to finish it. You don't know if you can get those actors back on contract, or those set pieces will still be around, or any of the IP, like the stuff you created will be available. You made 2/5 of a movie and went, cool, I'm done. We'll get the green light for the second one. Part of me wishes that the studio says, no, we're good, you're done. Because that would be hilarious. But on the other hand, you're only given a smidgen of a story, and that's the part that just cracks me up hysterically. It's not even half a film, and there's zero resolution. Hilarious. Back to some thoughts. Okay, so visually it looks like you would expect it to look. Rather seamless, great. Acting wise, everybody in it is really, really good. I enjoyed them all. But there was just bits of the story where I was getting kind of lost. Some of the things was, okay, so you have the hand reacts, whatever. Emperor says, you're not going to control this planet anymore. I'll get to that. You're not going to control this planet anymore. We're going to give it to this family to now run. And the whole planet moves to the island. I kind of got lost there. But then, so the first family leaves with very minimal, like they just basically trashed the planet on their way out. Okay, sucks to be you, but you trashed it knowing that you were gonna try to come back eventually and take over again. So you left yourself with zero resources and then you bomb the shit out of it. So there's zero resources. What were you gonna do? What was your plan? I know they said something about selling the reserves they have of the spice, but you totally obliterated this planet's resources that you wanted. I don't understand that at all. And I don't see how the Baron can have power because the Baron, aka Jabba the Hutt, aka the Baron, looks like he'd be pretty easy to take out. His power is in his guise, but how powerful is that really? Which also makes you really realize that being in power sucks. You've got people coming after you all the time. Your life is constantly in danger of somebody trying to usurp your power. So being the leader of something, no, no, thank you. Just put me in the middle. Put me in the middle. That's where I can maintain. I think you don't want to be in charge of nothing. Nothing whatsoever. So that's why I was kind of getting lost in the story. Also, the vehicles. The engineering of the vehicles didn't seem right to me. Like those little dragonfly critters did not look safe at all, even when you're not under threat of being blown out of the sky. And those big blocky cargo-y things didn't I don't I'm not an engineer. However, I don't see how those big blocky ships, any of their ships, were space worthy or not. Speaking of space worthy, the only way you can travel interstellarly is by this one resource on this one planet. Oh, okay, sure, whatever. That's stuff I have to suspend disbelief on and just roll with it. But again, looks cool. The story kind of moved along until it got too slow and then it just ended. And you're like, okay, cool, fine. But other than that, but it was still very enjoyable. I wasn't too bored. I didn't get too lost. Timothée Chalamet, beautiful. He's beautiful in it. I want to give him a candy bar, but he's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And so yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, the funny thing was is after I watched it, my sister came over. She had seen it last night. And my sister's view on it was hilarious because she trained, she has a degree in theater and she studies stage combat. She studies and teaches stage combat. So she always looks at things from like the technical side of it, and the end fight scene with Jameis and Paul, she's like, this guy's supposed to be a world-class fighter and he gets killed basically because he overcommits to a lunge. She just totally was not buying that last scene at all. And she was also like, Timothée Chalamet's hair is just constantly in his eyes. You can't bite in his eyes. I just want to go up and trim his bangs because how is he going to fight through all of his fringe? All they did was they gave him that lunge to do so they can give the look. That's all it was for. That fight was worthless. That's the stuff that drives her crazy and what she looks. Also, like the costuming. It's like you live on a wind planet. You're not going to have all this billowy fabric if you live on a planet that's high wind. And that was the one thing too, is when they first Atreides first lands on the planet and the first Lady Jessica is all in her shroud of this fabric that's just completely worthless. Looks cool, but it's not functional in any capacity whatsoever. And part of me is thinking, like, is this to show that they are not prepared? Other point, they're not prepared to be on this planet. And I think maybe that was what the point was, is that they were showing that this family, this planet, whatever, was not prepared to be on this planet. And that was the other funny thing, is like House Atreides is supposed to be like super, super smart and military whip sharp. And they weren't prepared to be on this planet in any capacity. They knew they were going into something. They were going into a trap. You could tell because there was always those looks, those They were the looks that they were giving each other all the time. So they knew they were walking into a trap, yet kept committing to walking into the trap. There was nothing. Paul's life almost gets taken and they don't have extra security. Oh, I see these strange lights. We're under attack. I'm going to go investigate this myself. No, no. So for a house that was supposed to be super smart, they did dumb decisions. And so that's the when you start picking it apart, it's not as cool and shiny as it initially looks to be. So if you turn that part of your brain off, you'll have a good time. So yeah, so that's where I'm left with Dune. Is it's fun, especially if you can watch it from home. Bonus, I know you missed, it's built for the big screen and it's meant to be sweeping CGI, and I'm sure that was lovely. But let me tell you, I will trade in sweeping landscape for subtitles any day. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if we do get a part 2, and if we do, when that will come out. Very interesting to see. So thanks so much for joining me on this little short spoiler-filled review, and I hope to see you all again soon. So till next time, y'all.